It's people like you who've already put books together. You know that there's been a problem, and you're trying to help the children as well as the adults find solutions.
Right. I think every solution already lies within the people. I don't think that we can trust legislation or certain leaders. Legislation is important, but I think the people that walk this field, the ones that live in these homes and communities, we are the ones that can solve problems.
Right. And it's one thing when someone lives in a certain neighborhood and they drive a certain kind of car, but that violence, they can be a target of that violence just by driving down the street, and they don't realize it.
They don't realize it. They don't realize it.
Who exactly are you targeting? I know you said that you met a young lady who's reading it in her school, but you've had opposition from older people. Who are you targeting?
I'm talking in particular young people, because it seems to me that those people are the ones that want to be helped. They're the ones that need to understand what literature can do for them. I think a lot of our children are trapped in their minds, and an exposure to my literature or any kind of literature will allow them to see themselves in the world and to begin to think highly about themselves in the world.
Let's talk about some of the language you use in the book.
Right. My idea, because I read poetry, I read some of the guys like Robert Frost, and their language was always requiring me to study. And for me, I said, I don't want to do that. I want to write my poetry where readers, where young children can pick up this book and they can see themselves and they can hear that slang in the book. Now, that was done purposely. I have an education, but still I want to put education aside so I could communicate with those children in an effective manner.
Because a lot of times that's all they understand.
That's what they understand.
And if that's what they understand, that's the only way they're going to get the message.
Right, and so part of that, my language is to be where they are, mentally and otherwise.
Right. Mm-hmm. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Have you gotten negative or positive feedback from the community?
The community, when I first started trying to get the book established in the community, I talked to some people, and the book was reviewed by the people at Fort Hood, and they didn't have a problem with it. And that left me to feel good about the project, that it could do well around Fort Hood. Initially, I was concerned about the language in the book, that it would deter some people. But I said, no, I won't change it. Otherwise, the book is doing pretty well.
So did you have some people who tried to have you to censor some of your material?
People have told me that sometimes the language is quite raw, but to me, it's real. This is how we talk. This is how our children talk. We won't admit to that, but I'm not one that's trying to hide behind fantasy. I'd rather be real with myself. That way, I can have people that read my book will know, hey, look, Adams writes real. So I'm not out here trying to reach every person that's going to buy a book, just those that want to read what I write.
Well, they hear it on the radio every day. You know, they go out and buy the CDs with the graphic language, so why not be able to sit down and educate yourself? Even if the language is a bit raw, but at least it's education.
It's education. To me, it's educational and it's inspiring. There is a message. And I think that most people will read this book, if they kind of weed through it, they will find a message there.
Okay, you want to read another?
Yes, I'll read one more, and this one is quite raw. I call it Sheets in the Streets. With the multitude of black folks being killed in the streets, there's no reason to fear the cowards behind the sheets. In the past, blacks were whipped or left dangling from ropes. In the present, are destructors of guns, self-hate, and dope. Folks would hear that and think, wow, he can't say that. But the main thing is I always say, is it actually happening today? Is it real? And if we can say that it's real and it is happening, then I can say that.
Right. That is deep. It's very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the book available right now?
Right now it's available at the Main Exchange, Warrior Way at Fort Hood, and under one roof, bookstore in Killeen.
Okay. Do you have any other works that you're Waiting to publish?
I'm working on something right now I call Respect Before Love. Another book of poetry combined with a few essays. It took me a while just to get the title to that book, Respect Before Love. And I think that's one of the things that we're lacking today, respect. Recently, I made a speech at the Rotary Club in Killeen, and I said that if we would expect our children to be quality citizens, to be quality people, we must teach them three things. The first thing being self-respect. The second thing being self-devotion. And the third thing being self-discipline. And I went on to expound on those three. And I call this respect before love. Paula, I cannot love you if I don't respect you.
Right.
I'm convinced that love is a substance, or it grows out of respect. Love it comes behind respect. I can't go around saying I love people, but I don't respect them.
Yeah, and if you don't love yourself or respect yourself, you can't. If you can't respect yourself, you can't love yourself. So
right. So self-respect. If I respect myself, then I have no choice but to respect those people around me. Then I'm going to respect their right to life. It's for our kids now. If they respect themselves, they're going to respect your right to life. They're going to respect your property. They're going to respect your right to pursue happiness in any form that you wish to pursue it.
Do you see this book being a part of the Killeen ISD or any other school district's curriculum?
If I had my way, I think every child should read this book. I think that it's a good, informative book. If it wasn't mine, I'd say the same thing if somebody else had did it. I'm not in the writing business or the speaking business just to write a book for the sake of doing it. I'm in this thing to try to say, look, here's a book, child. You can do better in life.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I pray. 11-year-old black youths grew up in Chicago gangs, perfecting the lessons of shoot 'em up, bang bang. Experts can't figure out what to say, but they utter guns shall end the breath of black youths someday. Change the tune of your graveside song. The black youths, I pray, will prove the experts wrong. In that poem, there is a message of hope. That a message, things can get better. But I think it also takes more than prayer. It's going to take some action along with that prayer.
Well, speaking of that hope, what about the future of our children?
It, in some ways, it seems quite doomed. And, but we can rescue those children. But it's going to take a great realization on our part. And it's going to take the masses of people to awaken and exercise their energy, creativity, and will to go out where those kids are and bring them back.
That's what it's going to take, someone actually taking time out of their schedule to do that.
That's right. If that means taking one less hour on the job, we have to make sacrifice for our kids. The thing that I'm teaching myself and teaching people now is that we must prepare our kids for greatness. Prepare them to be great citizens, great people. Because just being mediocre or just being good will not leave a legacy behind for their children to build on.
In about 15 seconds, where do you want to be as a writer in the next few years?
Like my kids, I desire to be great. Whether it be in my own mind or the mind of other people, my goal is to be great.
All right. And I believe if works like Put the Guns Down, you will be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.